The faint sound of an old broom scraping against the gym floor was drowned out by the laughter of children spinning and dancing under the flickering school lights. But in the far corner, a little girl with a wheelchair sat quietly, her eyes wide, watching them twirl with a longing smile that broke the heart of anyone who noticed. Almost no one did, except for the janitor. He paused, broom in hand, then slowly walked over. What happened next would change his life, and hers forever. Ethan Cole had always believed his life was about getting by, not about being seen. He was 42, a single father, and a janitor at Willow Creek Elementary School. Each night after classes, he swept away crumpled worksheets, sticky candy wrappers, and footprints that told stories of children who were full of life. Something he hadn't felt in a long time. His wife had left when their daughter Lily was just 3. Since then, Ethan carried the weight of fatherhood alone, balancing low pay, long hours, and the silent ache of wondering if he was enough. Lily, now 7, was his reason to keep going. She had her mother's golden hair, his soft brown eyes, and a laugh that could melt away the hardest days. But tonight, it wasn't Lily in front of him. It was another little girl, her arms thin, her legs motionless, her wheelchair tucked in the shadows of the gym wall. Her classmates spun, clapped, and stomped to the music, but she sat still, her hands gripping the sides of her, as though she were trying to hold herself together. Her smile was brave, but her eyes told the truth. She wanted to belong. Ethan leaned on his broom and sighed. He knew that look too well. Lily often came home from school telling him about the games she couldn't join, because the other kids had parents who could afford lessons, trips, or fancy things. Poverty created invisible walls. And yet, standing in front of him now was a child facing an even bigger wall, one that no dance teacher, no shiny sneakers, could tear down. Without thinking, Ethan walked over. "Hey there," he said gently, crouching so his tired eyes met hers. "You like music?" The girl's lips curved into a shy grin. "I do, but I can't dance like them." "Who says you can't?" Ethan replied, warmth spreading in his voice. He extended his calloused hand. "How about we make our own dance?" The little girl hesitated, then slipped her small hand into his. Ethan steadied her chair, swaying it gently to the rhythm of the music. He twirled her as if her wheels were her feet, spinning her across the floor. She laughed, a sound so pure it filled the gym louder than the music itself. For a moment, there was no chair, no difference, no pain. Just joy. Children stopped mid-spin, their eyes wide, watching the janitor and the girl who had been invisible all night. One by one, they began clapping along, cheering, and some even joined in, circling her wheelchair, as Ethan guided her into the center of the floor, like a star. What neither of them knew was that someone was watching from the doorway. A woman in a tailored coat, her expression frozen, her hand clutching the strap of her designer purse. Her heart ached as she saw her daughter, her precious Emily, laughing in a way she hadn't in months, and the man responsible. A janitor, a stranger, yet someone who had seen what so many others overlooked. Tears welled in her eyes as she whispered to herself, "After all this time, she's smiling again." The night ended, but something had shifted. Ethan wheeled Emily back to her mother without realizing who she was. He only smiled, said, "She's got a beautiful laugh," and returned to his broom. But the billionaire mother, Grace Whitmore, stood frozen. For the first time in years, wealth felt useless. It wasn't money that had broken through Emily's loneliness. It was kindness. Grace Whitmore wasn't used to being invisible. Billionaire, philanthropist, the face of countless magazines. People noticed her everywhere she went. Yet here, in the quiet gym, she had been unseen. The janitor hadn't recognized her, hadn't asked for anything, hadn't even hesitated to show her daughter compassion. That, more than anything, unsettled her. Emily, still glowing with joy, couldn't stop talking on the ride home. "Mom, he made me feel like I was really dancing." Everyone clapped. "Mom, everyone saw me." Grace swallowed hard, blinking back tears. Money had bought doctors, therapy, and every device to make life easier, but it had never given Emily this feeling of being whole. The next day, Grace returned to the school, not as a billionaire, but as a mother. She asked the principal about the janitor. "Ethan Cole," they said, "single dad. Works 2 jobs. Quiet man. But the kids love him." Grace sought him out during his evening shift. She found him in the empty cafeteria, scrubbing tables with sleeves rolled up. She approached carefully. "Mr. Cole." He looked up, surprised. "Yes, I wanted to thank you," Grace said softly, her eyes glistening, "for what you did last night. For Emily." He smiled, shrugging as though it were nothing. "She just wanted to dance. Every kid deserves that." His words struck her harder than any speech she'd ever heard at a charity gala. No pity, no pretense, just truth. Every kid deserves that. Over the weeks, Grace found reasons to linger at the school, watching how Ethan worked tirelessly yet always made time for the children. Fixing a broken toy, listening to their stories, and now, encouraging Emily to roll onto the gym floor whenever music played. Slowly, Emily's confidence grew. But something else grew too, Grace's admiration. She had built her empire on deals and ambition, but Ethan had built a life on sacrifice and love. The two worlds couldn't be more different, yet somehow, they found themselves orbiting closer. One evening after watching Emily laugh with Lily, Ethan's daughter, Grace turned to him. "You know, you've given Emily something I couldn't. Not with all my money, not with all my power." Ethan frowned gently. "And what's that?" "Hope," she whispered. For a moment, their eyes locked. Two people from opposite sides of the world, bound by the simple truth that love and kindness mattered more than wealth or status. Months later, Emily stood on stage during the school's talent show. With Ethan and Lily cheering, she spun her wheelchair proudly, her arms raised like wings. The crowd erupted in applause. Grace's tears streamed freely, but this time, they were tears of gratitude. It wasn't just Emily who had changed. Grace had too. Ethan had reminded her of the most profound truth. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness ripple into the greatest miracles. Moral of the story: true wealth is not measured in money or power, but in the kindness we share and the hope we bring to others.